Thank you and welcome to everyone. Today we are having our fourth session of the 6-week course, How Time Flies. I'm surprised we're already in the fourth week. Yes, and this week, as noted on our WhatsApp page, we are going to have 2 Q&A sessions today and one on Friday at 2 p.m. GMT. Today's session is focused on the first 6 lessons of our module for the week. As we all know, this week's module is titled Additional Collection Specific Resources. So last week, under module 3, we looked specifically at how to search the Research4Life content portal, and not only search, but also browse the collections. We also looked at ethical issues related to our acquisition and the use of other people's intellectual property. So this week, we want to narrow down on the various subject disciplines and their resources as available through Research4Life. And so I announced that we will be having a breakout session in today's Q&A where individuals will move into rooms specific to the area of interest to them. Now, the intention initially was that if everyone had taken part in that poll, we would have actually pre-assigned participants to these groups or rooms, but only 21 persons actually voted. So we decided to make it open, but those who voted knew the subject areas that they want to focus on today. For that matter, when the breakout session starts, I'll indicate which room is assigned to what discipline. However, I already informed us yesterday that for the health sciences, environmental sciences, and agricultural sciences, we have collapsed all these subjects into one. So during the breakout session, if your interest is in health, agric, or environmental sciences, you will move into one room, which is the health sciences room. There is a separate room for evidence-based practice or evidence-based medicine. So all participants who are also interested in evidence-based medicine or evidence-based practice, you will also move into the room assigned to that discipline. Then finally, there's a third room, which is for RD, that is development and innovation. This room will also combine the RD and GOLI or GOALI databases. GOALI is global justice, or is about legal information, whereas RD is about development and innovation. So those two will also come together in one room under RD. Well, that is when the breakout session starts. But for now, we want to begin by having some broad interactions on how far we have come on the course, particularly how we are faring within this week. Because these weeks, the last week and this week, the fourth week, are both practice-oriented. If you observe, they are practice-oriented. And I have actually released the login credentials for your access to the Research4Life portals to our Microsoft Teams page, the Research4Life Teams page. I hope all of you have got the access codes, the username and password. Now, the idea is that as you work through the module lessons, you should use those access credentials to actually practice or verify the things that you are seeing in the PowerPoint presentation slides. And I hope you have been doing that. So for the first part of this morning's Q&A session, we'll go through a few interactions on how we have been using the access credentials, what databases we have visited so far, and how we have found the Research4Life interface in terms of access, navigation, and all of that, and other experiences that we ourselves want to share, not necessarily with Research4Life, but with searching and retrieval of full text items in general. Then we will also discuss something briefly related to our meeting next week, which is a physical or face-to-face workshop on Wednesday and Thursday, 20th and 31st of October. And after that, we will now move into the breakout session where we'll be assigned the individual rooms, or we ourselves will pick the individual rooms, and then we'll focus on the discipline-specific collections within Research4Life and how to browse or search these various collections. So thank you once again, and you are all welcome very much to this session. Okay, so let me start this way. Now, for the past 2 weeks, we are focused on how to obtain scientific publications from online sources, particularly from Research4Life. But my first question is broad. I want to find out. I'm sure that everybody here has at one point in time looked for information resources in terms of research publication for some purpose. Either you are developing a grant proposal and you need to support your problem statement with evidence, or you are doing a formal research, either for publication or as an academic requirement, and you need to cite or support your claims or arguments with scientific evidence. Now, how do you normally go about this? Okay, not necessarily with our focus on Research4Life, but how do you normally go about looking for research publications when you are reviewing a topic or you want to support your arguments in any form of writer? You can share your experience by raising your hand. I'll call you to participate.
Okay, let me share my experience.
Thank you very much, Wisdom.
Yeah, so what I usually do when I'm writing as anything scholarly is that I do a search.
Please, can we see your face?
Uh, no, at the moment, no.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So I usually, sorry about that.
That's fine. That's
I
fine.
usually do a search in a chosen database or in chosen databases relevant to what I am doing.
Right.
And based on what I'm doing, I break that into key terms, and then I use those key terms to conduct a structured search in the chosen database. So, for example, it could be I am a nurse, so for example, it could be in Sina, it could be in Pubmed or Mbase. If I have the access, then I do those I get my articles relevant to what I'm doing.
Wow, that's great. It's very great. So, if you look at the steps he described, the first and most important thing is his topic or his problem, whatever he is doing, is what tells him where to look. So he decides on the relevant database to his problem or topic. And then when he gets there, he decides to pick up keywords that will actually communicate his search more appropriately to the retrieval system. And then, as he has said, he breaks down his search terms in such a way that he's able to conduct a structured search. These are technical things, and he's a nurse. I'm very happy that our practitioners, the clinical people, um, also engage in these kinds of activity, as he said, when he's doing scholarly work. We are going to see maybe during our interaction in the health sciences group or the evidence-based group that yes, even outside of application, clinical consultations and a lot of work um, is accessible, even when it comes to diagnosis, treatment, and all manner of things that clinicians can learn from in order to apply to the situation that they face with clients that come over to them. So it's a great thing to know that he uses Sinal, Embase. That is great stuff. Pubmed. I'm happy he has mentioned all of that. And I've also seen in the chat that, yes, it's clearly understandable. Some people say they are in shared offices and may not be able to speak. That is in order not to disturb other colleagues, but they'll be able to type. So yes, it's perfectly welcome, right? So if you want to really put your experience in the chats, kindly write there. We'll read it out. Thank you very much. Okay, please, anyone else wants to share their experience of how they try to...
Hello, Fred.
Yes, hello.
I want to ask Mr. Akpalu wisdom.
Okay. Yes.
For some of us, the only thing we know is Google search. I'm just thinking, I don't understand why he didn't mention Google search.
Oh, okay. Is that well?
Okay, so I use Google search, but not in the general Google.
Okay.
If I'm doing something scholarly, I normally go to the Google Scholar.
Wow.
I do that as also. So it's not only what's the name? Those databases I mentioned. I use the Google Scholar too, which is another database. So, like I said, depending on what I'm doing, I could go there as well.
Okay. Dominic, are you satisfied?
He has also introduced another one, Google Scholar. Me, I know Google
He's adding more.
Yes, I want you to come down to our level. Why would you use
Google Scholar is specific for... Yes, I use Google Scholar because it's for if you want things about empirical publications. Yeah. Google Scholar is best
compared to the normal Google search.
Because that's the database for Google. So It's just like how you have, let's say, Pubmed that contains scholarly work. Google too has its site, which is the Google Scholar.
Okay.
If you search in the general Google, you're going to get a host of results that are very general.
Okay.
Very plenty too, which are not necessarily related to what you are doing. But if you go into Google Scholar, it will directly give you scholarly works. Yes, so if I'm doing something scholarly, I go to the Scholar site.
Wow. Thank you very much. These are very insightful. So I'm very much happy about how he keeps stressing depending on what he is doing. So depending on what topic you are dealing with or the subject matter and how scholarly you want your information. I think, was it in the second week 2, when we dealt with identifying relevant information sources or something? Something like that came up, I remember, week 2, yes, where we spoke about the types of information sources. We spoke about the primary, secondary, tertiary sources and all of that, trying to describe what they are and what they mean in terms of information timeline and all of that. So I'm happy he actually clarified that the choice of database or where he wants to look or the source of his information actually depends on the subject matter that he's treating or the topic of interest at the time. Yes, Jonathan, it looks like you want to tell us something. Jonathan. Okay. Jonathan is not there.
Yes, you are on the chat.
Yes, I can see one on chat, Divine Elikofi. He says, I also get the latest paper in the area or around the topic I want to write, and then identify papers that the writer cited. I look for those papers from their journals or databases, and from there, I get more papers. Wow, that's another interesting one. So he's saying that depending on the topic he's also working with, he tries to get the latest publication there. Then he tracks down related publications by looking through the references of this very relevant publication that he found. And then through the reference list, he is able to connect with other relevant publications. That's a very interesting approach. All right. So he didn't tell us how he gets that first time relevant material anyway, but whether he subscribes to a particular journal in his area or whether he uses Google Scholar or Google or any other database, we don't know. But the process, as he has described, is that he tries to get the most relevant or latest publication on the topic, and then he works his way through the references of that particular publication to other related publications. That is very interesting. And I wish someone can tell us the terminology for what he has described. Can anyone remind us?
A citation chaining or chasing.
Great, Doc. Thank you so much. Yes, that is citation chasing or citation chaining. So that's exactly what Divine has described. So he uses the publications reference list. And with the specific use of reference list, it means he's doing a backward citation chasing or citation chaining, because those references from his publication would definitely be older than the publications he's reading. So on the other side, if you want to do a forward citation chaining, you can only get it when you are using online systems like Pubmed or Google Scholar or the database we are going to be looking at today. So usually they will tell you cited by. So you are reading a particular article and the system tells you that, well, what you are reading right now has been cited by other articles. Now, those other articles that are cited, the one you are reading now, definitely are newer. Okay, they are newer than the one you are reading. So when you use that link through Google Scholar or Pubmed or any other CINA, whatever database, or even the connected papers, You remember we came across connected papers during our first session. So when you use any of those links to move to a more current publication from the one you are reading, then you say you are doing a forward citation chaining or forward citation chasing. That is great. Barbara says, the first and foremost thing is knowing my topic and getting my keywords or terms from the topic. For scholarly work, I use Google Scholar, and I usually add PDF at the end of the keyword. I also look for how current the information is. But for my everyday search, I use the almighty Google, as Dominic mentioned, but will always add my PDF to it. Wow. Well, these are very great experiences we are having. So from Barbara, well, she's also using similar databases, Google Scholar for scholarly work, and as she says, almighty Google, almighty Google search for any ordinary search. But she brings an interesting twist to it, that for her, she will always add PDF to her keywords. Okay, so if she's looking for perinatal nursing or pediatric whatever, she will make sure she adds PDF. Now we are going to ask Barbara to tell us why she adds PDF. Barbara, you are writing, so you can still write it. I'll read it later. So why do you use the PDF as part of your search query when you are searching? In fact, Barbara also mentioned something interesting. She says that she actually formulates her keywords from the topic. Okay, so she starts with the topic, then right from the topic, she tries to derive keywords for her search. But she makes sure that whatever she's doing, PDF must be added to the query. So she will tell us again why she adds PDF. All right, thanks, Divine. Divine has now explained to us that he actually uses Google Scholar. Yeah, okay, so he tries to use Google Scholar to get the current publications before working his way through the references for more connected publications. All right, thank you. While we are waiting for Barbara to tell us why she has been adding PDF to her search query, anyone else should share their experience, how you go about searching for the literature. Auntie Philomena Dugbaza, can you share your experience? Auntie Philo. Okay, we can hear her. Mr. Festus Taboja, can you share your experience with us? He is with Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. Mr. Taboja. Oh, I can hear from him too. Okay, any volunteer at all to tell us their experience as well? So Google is reigning here. Everybody uses Google or a version of Google. Google is interesting. Well, I also use Google.
Fred.
Yes.
I understand why people keep using Google.
Yeah.
And I also realize that with the advent of open access resources, most of these databases, or Google is able to crawl into some of these databases.
Yes.
And like the earlier speakers had indicated, Google search is not an academic database. So you are likely to come across anything that has to do with your keyword.
Yeah.
So perhaps Barbara is using the PDF as a filter to her search because most of these scientific publications are in PDF.
Okay.
So people do that, add PDF to their search query, and Google is able to use that to refine it. Google, the normal Google search does not have filters like Google Scholar will have.
Yeah.
So people add such terms, PDF, or even the year range, so date of publication range, to filter their searches. And in that case, you are able to refine your search and do away with some of the chaff you would ordinarily get. I'm suspecting that is why people will add other additional things like PDF, the date, and sometimes the author's name and other things to their searches in Google. That's something little I want to share.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot, Dominic. I think
if you it brings you the full publication. It will not just give you only the abstract.
Okay. So full text.
The PDF gives you the full text. It won't just give you the abstract.
Oh, okay. So it's great. So it's all about the filtering.
Yes.
So you don't really. Okay, Barbara herself has spoken again. Yeah, Jonathan, continue.
Yeah, if you type your keyword and you add PDF, it gives you full text of all the publications that it will bring. So it will take off the chaffs, then giving you the right contents that you want in full text. And it will take off those that will just give you only the abstracts as well.
Okay, that's great. So Barbara says, PDF, essentially I use it when I need to filter the search. It also gives me the whole text. Okay, so excellent. That's what Dominic and Jonathan have just told us. That, yeah, they are right, Barbara, that the use of PDF as part of your search string helps to filter or limit your search to the full text of the item that you are searching for, so that those plenty other things like videos and images and many things that you didn't really desire will not come up. Because you'll be surprised, sometimes you make a single Google search and you are in 16 million, 500,000 results. No human being can read that. So you try to adjust your keyword or your key phrase or search query in such a way that it helps to limit the hits or the results that are returned to your search. Okay, Henry says, I think most people use Google Scholar because it offers a free service that provides a simple way to broadly search for scholarly works, and it connects patrons with the resources libraries provide. Excellent. Yeah, Google Scholar, I think Dominic mentioned something about open access. Open science was something we met in our first week. I'm sure all of us remember that. Yeah, there are so many claims that the future of science is open, and I hope that is true. Of course, for many of us in the health sciences or the medical sciences, this is very true, because in these areas now publications are becoming increasingly open access. And according to Henry, which is true, Google Scholar has been one of the trusted databases connecting scholars, students to academic sources of information. So it is the same Google, all right, but Google Scholar refines the search. So unlike the normal Google search, in Google Scholar, just as Divine and others have already told us, it helps you to locate the scholarly sources that are indexed by Google. So that is one great reason why we use Google Scholar. Of course, it's fine. I think last week, Lenny even took us through using Google Scholar to search the contents of Research4Life. So Google Scholar is great. And Google is also great. Dominic also pointed something that I experienced myself, that nowadays sometimes it's even better to start searching from Google, because Google algorithms have actually developed so well, and not necessarily Google's algorithms, but also because of the open science movement, many databases that were formerly hidden in the deep web and required a lot of paid or subscribed access are now making their metadata very open and interoperable, all right? Now, what all those jargon mean is that it is becoming easier for the items that are indexed by these scholarly sources to be discovered by the general web search engines like Google. So, of course, you can do a simple Google search for any medical or environmental science, agric, or whatever topic. And Google will actually map you onto results that are found in the scholarly databases. So you can make a search or do a search in Google, and you realize that among the results, you are getting links to the Pubmed database, you're getting links to Elsevier, Science Direct, so Google is a great place to start, but it is not a good place to stop. All right. So those experiences are quite interesting, and I'm happy that you have shared them. What we'll do from now until we break out into our smaller groups is to share a few more ideas on searching in general, because when we move into the smaller groups, we are going to be focusing specifically on some databases, all right? So irrespective of what database you are using, there are some basic things that are common for all databases. Now, we looked at some of them in week 2 and also last week, but that was through the Research4Life resources. Today, we are not necessarily going to use Research4Life, but just share our general ideas on how searching happens across all databases. So I'll go for the GoogleScholar, and then we'll look at a few of the generic things or the commonalities for all databases. And then when we move into our specialized areas, we'll try to see if we can identify these things in those other databases. All right, so I'll share my screen for us to continue that discussion. You enter Scholar by scholar.google.com. All right, scholar.google.com. And it brings you to their search interface where you have their slogan, "Stand on the shoulders of giants." And by default, articles is ticked. Of course, there's another option for case law. All right, so those who are interested in legal information, you could decide to shift to this option, but we are going to stick with articles to have a general search for academic output. But before we move there, I want you to identify some of the elements on the first interface. You can see the far left, these 3 dashes. Who can tell me the name we are giving this? In Research4Life, we have a similar thing. And what is the name?
Hamburger menu.
Thank you very much. That is a hamburger menu. All right. So anytime you see this, it is telling you there are more options that you can set for your page. So the hamburger menu gives you access to some other elements that are conspicuously missing from the page, okay, by which you can use to set your page up or to go into other aspects of your interface. So you can see that here it is demanding what we call a scholar profile, because I'm the one who said my profile. If you do it, it's also my profile on your screen. So you can actually set up your profile. There's a process to go through. Those who already have it is great. You can just sign in. If I sign in right now, my Google profile will show. The reason why it is good sometimes to set up a profile or create a personalized account on a database, okay, is that when you are conducting your searches or doing any academic work that involves searching, exporting citations, and whatever, the system allows you to save or store that to your personalized account, which you can actually refer to in the future. Apart from that, it will also allow you to create alerts. You can see it's right here, alerts. Have you seen it? So once you set up a personalized profile, you can also create alerts. An alert is simply a notification you set, okay, for a particular topic, so that anytime a new publication is indexed by that particular database, then it gives you notification in your email. So you can see the email icon beside the alerts. So Google will allow you to do this, but again, when you click on this, you see that Google, let me click and let's see what happens. Google will demand that you can see, it says, do you want to set alerts for the JName at this? So this is the email I'm using to browse Google right now. So is this one that I want? Then I can go ahead and create the alert. So let me pretend I'm going to do it. Let's see how it works. Once I click on, you see that it's asking me what is the alert query. So on what topic, on what kind of search query do you want to create this alert? So that anytime a new publication comes, they will send to this particular email that notification that a new publication has arrived on this particular query or research topic that you have set the alert for. All right. Okay, but I'm not going there, so I'm going back. So that is one reason why you should create a personal account on a database. So if you're using a Pubmed database, you are using a CNAL, whichever database you are using, even though you will have the institutional login, and please let's get this very clear. The institutional login allows you to have access to the main portal, but your personal searches will not be saved for you at the institutional level, all right? So if you want personalized searches and saving of your data and your history and everything, or creating alerts, then after logging on with your institutional credentials, you will have to create a personal profile or a personal account on that particular database. Then it will allow you now to store the personal things that you are doing, including searches and citations and alerts and everything else. All right. So that's about the personal profile on databases and all of that. Now, the next thing we can get from the hamburger menu here is metrics. You can see metrics here. So you can do the metrics for any topic or any particular author. We are not going to go into that. But how about this one, the advanced search? So, hello.
Yes, before you go into the advanced search, since we have scholars here, I want you to throw a bit of light on why they need to use their institutional email addresses to verify their Google Scholar account.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So talking about my profile, all right. So for those who have and those who do not yet have, it is very, very important to actually create a Google Scholar profile. Google Scholar, because as we already noted from the first round when we were sharing our experiences with searches, you realize that a lot of people will fall on Google Scholar first, okay, when they are looking for scholarly information, because they believe that that aspect of Google documents or indexes scholarly work, all right? Now, as scholars, we want to be publicized. We want our work to be known and to be used, all right? And the best way of making anyone know about what you are doing is to sell yourself. Okay, so the scholar profiles, and it's not only Google Scholar, all right, but Google Scholar is open. And of course, others like OCID are open also, but there are others like the Author ID that Scopus provides, Web of Science and Pabulons, all those systems. I think we shared some of them in our first meeting, the first session of the Q&A. These help you to actually index your own record or create, let me say, a curriculum vitae of your scholarly profile or work, all right? So as and when you do something scholarly, you update your information over there, where the preprints or postprints or even the final published version of the article is allowed to be archived in any online space. Depending on your journal's policy, you are free to archive it there. And these actions actually make your work more visible, okay? It's about visibility. So you increase visibility for your work. And visibility means that, increased visibility means that there will be more use of your work, or because it is more discoverable by other burgeoning scholars or colleagues who really want to build further on your knowledge that you have shared. And as they build more on your knowledge that you have shared, you see that you are increasing your citation count. And that is where the metrics issue that I mentioned comes in. So that if you have been working on health systems and policy research, and there are NGOs who are also doing similar things on health system issues, and they really want to find evidence maybe on the Volta region or in Pubmed municipality or in the whole municipality that they are actually creating a grant proposal for, they should be able to easily discover your work. And that happens when you index your work or you create a profile and you update it regularly with what you are actually doing in scholarship on a profile system like Google Scholar. Okay, so of course, affiliation is very important. Within your scholar profile, it is important to specify your institutional affiliation. For example, those who are in UHAS, you can use a UHAS affiliation. And in that case, you probably want to use your UHAS email, because a UHAS email is a customized Gmail, all right? It is still a Gmail. So you can use a UHAS email address so that Google actually verifies you as a scholar in UHAS. And with your verified account, it is going to provide all the scholarly information that you provide by updating your profile to the entire public. In fact, beyond Ghana, Google is an online database, it's web-based, so it means the whole world is actually looking at what you are doing, and anybody from any part of the world can contact you. It is not only when they want to cite your work. Sometimes people want to have research collaborations, all right? It is very important to have collaborations with people from other settings, either higher or lower than us in terms of economic development and all of that. It's very good to have those kinds of shared experiences and co-author work together in order to, give a lot of scholarly insight to each other and grow together. So yes, somebody can discover your profile and then want to strike a deal on collaboration and all of that. So those are some of the reasons why you need the scholar profile. And of course, I mentioned the issue of what we call open access interoperability. Okay, now a lot of search engines are able to harvest the metadata of other search engines and databases. So when you create an online presence, your discoverability is very high. It is possible somebody does a Yahoo search and gets you from Google Scholar. Somebody does a normal Google search and gets you. And that is how you actually create a buzz around what you are doing, and you get known in the scholarly spheres. All right, so I don't know if I've satisfied the requirement, Dominic.
Yeah, you have. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So please, those who don't have the scholar profile yet, try and create it. Or if you need help creating a scholar profile, you can get in touch with Dominic. He will help you to do that. And of course, beyond the Google Scholar profile, all other scholarly profiles, I know a lot of our faculty are on ResearchGH. That is excellent. A lot have their OC IDs, excellent. So create all these scholar profiles and market your work so that you are discovered in the scholarly world globally. Now, I mentioned the issue of advanced search, but before I get to that, there is a chart. Okay, great. So Dominic, you have one client already. That is excellent. All right, so I actually went to advanced search, but before I go back there, I want you to observe this. So in this first interface here, where you see the normal search engine, okay, I already have some searches I did. So like Alzheimer's, okay, good, Alzheimer's disease. So a quick search like this is what we call a basic search, all right? In a basic search, you search in generally just one field or all fields. You can just use a keyword, or sometimes people even use a whole sentence. How the topic comes, you can put the entire topic there. It's all allowed, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens is that when you do such a general natural language search, the search engine tries behind the scenes to actually create a search syntax, okay, that uses Boolean logic to combine the keywords that you have in your search string. We'll look at that later at the advanced stage. So this is what we call a basic search. Basic search is very good for what we call scoping searches, where you really want to just have a fair idea about what is available in the scholarly universe on your topic. So you just put in a basic keyword and then look at how much publication is available. Right now with Alzheimer's disease, for example, we can see about 2,850,000 results within 0.05 seconds displayed from Google Scholar alone. Have you seen that? Now, when you do any search like this, basic search, all right, in any of the databases that we are going to be focusing on very soon, you will observe that once it is a scholarly database, there are options, okay, available for you to refine the search. There is no way you are able to read all these 2 million plus results, okay? And so if you look on your left, we have what we call the search limits or filters. You remember that when Barbara shared her experience, she said that in order to filter her search, she adds PDF to her search string so that the documents or the results will be limited. Okay, so here we have over 2 million results for Alzheimer's. Now you can see that for the date range, it says anytime. So anytime is what is currently active. Now we can say since 2021, since 2020, since 2017, or we create a custom range where we can say, okay, from let's say 2018 to present, 2018, sorry, that's 2018 to 2021. Okay, now the moment I click on custom range and I'm entering my own date range, you realize that the color of custom range has changed to red. Can you see it? Just as it was on any time, and we had 2 million plus results. So if I do my search again here, let's see how many results from the 2,850,000 results. Now we have 153,000. So between 2018 and now, we have this amount of work produced on Alzheimer's alone. Now, that is one way of filtering or limiting your search or refining your search. When you move down, you can see that the sorting has been ordered by relevance. Okay, the results that have come, the 153,000 results, have been sorted by relevance. But it is possible to also sort by date. Now, the only disadvantage with sorting by date is that, yes, it may bring the newest result first, but the newest result may not necessarily be the most relevant result. All right. So you always have that laxity. You have the freedom to decide whether you want to sort by the latest or the most current publication, or you want to sort by the most relevant publication to your search query. That one is yours. But it is best to leave it at the most relevant so that you know that the top 10, the top 20, the top 50 results are more closely related to your search query than the next 100 or the last 50. All right, then you come down to the third level of filters or facets. It says any type of item. Okay, so these are the application types. Then you can see it is checked here, include citation, and then include patents. But the results we have here, 153,000, is displaying any type at all. So it means it includes the primary, research, review articles, book chapters, web pages, everything and everything. And so you can see there's another one here that says review articles. So let's say, well, I'm interested in review articles because I want to be presented with the evidence. Okay. Now, by choosing review articles alone, my 153,000 results have reduced now to 32,000. Have you seen it? So just as we have seen to a limited degree, in fact, Google Scholar is not very rich in all of these, but at least it serves as a basis for us to understand when we go into a database search. These are the kinds of things you should expect. Now, apart from the filters that you can apply, when you move to your right, for the middle, we already know that is where the results are displayed. And the titles are usually linked. So you can click on the title to read the full text or the abstract, all right? But let's suppose we are interested in this first result, the one by Selco, DJ Selco, which is in Nature Reviews on Neurology 2019, nature.com. Very good. Now, it gives you a brief of the abstracts, the first few lines. Then under it, you have several links. You see the star here? The star here is for favorites, or it means to save. So again, it comes to what we said about the profile. So if you had created a profile here and you are searching within your Google Scholar profile, once you click on this star, it saves this particular citation, this first one by DJ Selco. Then you also have the site. This site, okay, let's click and see what happens. It will display various citation formats or referencing formats. I think about 5 of them: MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, and Vancouver. For this particular citation or results that we clicked the site for. Then again, at the bottom here, you see that it gives you the various software that you can use to ingest or import these citations. So you could actually export this citation in the BibTeX format. or EndNote, RefMan, or RefWorks. Now, as I mentioned, in this course, we are going to be treating Mendeley, and I'll be showing you the links just after this before we move into the breakout sessions. But Mendeley can actually import BibTeX formats, okay? So if I click on BibTeX, for example, what happens is that you see it creates this kind of file. It's a plain text file format for me. And so all I have to do is, let me show you here. I can just go into the options, the browser options button here, those three dots, vertical dots there, okay? That's the Google Chrome's options button. So I can use to customize the Chrome in any way. When I go here, I say print, all right? And when I say print, it's going to pick up what was displayed. You can see that it is printing that as a PDF, but that is not what I want. I want it to be a plain text, okay? So I can go for more options and pick a particular format that I want, okay, from all of these. Even if I choose a PDF, of course, a PDF can be ingested by, how do we call it? Any of our citation databases. In fact, when we go into the actual searching and retrieval, we'll be explaining to you what these formats mean and how you can actually import them into your citation manager. So that is what happens when you use the Google Scholar. Any one of them, if you have EndNote installed on your machine, you can click on this EndNote and it will link directly to your EndNote app so that it automatically imports this particular citation. Otherwise, maybe you just want to copy this reference and then go and paste in your Microsoft Word document. All these options are available to you. All right. Okay, so that is about, okay, now, we mentioned this cited by, yes, I mentioned about forward citation chaining. So you can see that this particular document, published 2019 by Nature Reviews Neurology, has 111 other publications or newer publications citing it. So it says cited by, that means this particular document is older than all these 111 documents. So that is one way of locating connected papers or relevant papers based on the first relevant one that you found. All these 111 will be newer papers than this one. If you like, let's click that link and look at some of them. So J.M. Long, for example, is one of those 111 that actually cited our DJ Selco paper. And you can see that it was a 2019 publication as well. If we go down, we'll find more of them. You can see this one by D.M. Walsh. They published in 2020. They also cited our DJ Selco paper. So that is forward citation chaining. All right. Now back in our original results, you can see on the right here, it now gives you links to the full text or the actual publication source. So Google Scholar is just an aggregator. It's only pulling together these. It is not a publisher. It is not Google Scholar that has published these documents. So see that for each of the citations, it tells you where it is coming from. For example, this first one is Nature Reviews, and it is published by Nature. So it tells you where you can locate it. If you come to the next publication, Alzheimer's Disease Overview, this is an overview by T.D. Baird. And it also tells you again where it is coming from, NCBI, NLM, NIH. So that's a Pubmed document. So you can decide to click on this to read it, okay, online, or go right here to the source, all right, at Pubmed. If I click, let's see, by example, it will take you straight to the Pubmed database, or if it is available for free. So this is your Pubmed database, and you can see it is located in books. So it means what we're even looking at was a book chapter. So you can see that it's on the NCBI bookshelf. Can you see? So it's a book result. It wasn't even a journal article, all right? Okay, so this is Pubmed, and you can see that the PDF version of this page is available, and this is the size 427K, that's kilobytes. So if you like, you can decide to download the PDF version, or you want to read it, just scroll down and read all that was contributed on the Alzheimer's, and it's great, either here or there. Most importantly, apart from getting these versions, you can also cite the work or look at the author information. What else? What else? What else is here? Well, we'll be doing Pubmed for the health sciences, so I'll not talk about Pubmed. I'll simply go back to my Google Scholar. All right, so those are the main things that I wanted to show. Now, if you actually created your profile, I'm talking about the last thing now on Google Scholar. If you actually created your profile and you did these searches and maybe you start some of the citations or you save some of them, then you can now see my library. You can see the star here and it says my library. So if you click on my library right now, all those documents or citations that you may have saved will now be available here. Okay, so you see, I've not done anything like that. So it says save articles to read later. To save an article, click the star icon below the search results. So that is all. That's how to create your library. All right. So for those who have been using Google Scholar already, I'm sure you already know all these things and you have been doing that so that you are able to create a library of your references right on Google Scholar. Anytime you log in, whether it is a year later or whatever, all the citations that you saved there will be there waiting for you, unless you decide to clean or collect them yourself. All right. So those basically are the main things that I wanted to share on databases in general and what we should be expecting when we move into our various rooms and we have been taken through the specific databases for the subject areas. But before I move away from here, I will now go back to Barbara says Almighty Google. Okay, Almighty Google will tell us some things. And I want you to be thinking about this. And not only thinking about it, by working with it also before our next week physical meeting, which we are going to communicate details on later today or tomorrow. We will be using Mendeley, but we'll be using two versions of the Mendeley. The first one is Mendeley Desktop. So you can go to Google and type Mendeley Desktop. Okay. And you decide to download it and install to your computer. All right. Now, this is how to go about it. If you go there straight, the first thing to do is to create an account. Okay, set up your own Mendeley profile and then you download. Or you can choose to download first. If you click on download, it will allow you, I am using a Windows operating system. So you see it says download for Windows. If you're using a Mac, you will see download for Mac. Now it is also available for Linux and whatever operating system you are using, all right? Okay, so this is the Mendeley Desktop for Windows. Now look carefully at something. I'll go back to the search result on Google just to show you something. You look at the color of Mendeley here. This is a very deep red, and it says Mendeley Desktop. Okay, that is the first version. It is the oldest and or let me say the old and stable version, which is what you are going to use for the first part, learning how to use Mendeley for our entire research life cycle, not only the citing and referencing. Mendeley is for academic social networking as well. We are going to look at a lot of things. Mendeley can also allow you to do searches. For example, if I choose to go here and say mendeley.com, okay, mendeley.com, I'm going to see Mendeley, sorry, my D didn't come. Sorry, it's taking me to a different site. It's Mendeley, yeah? Great. So you see the first thing you see when you go to mendeley.com is what? It says search for articles. So you can also search for articles. Mendeley has a discovery tools. And of course, Mendeley is going to link you to open access articles, articles that are freely available for you to download. So it's not only Google Scholar, Mendeley also does stuff like that, all right? Then you can create a free account here and then proceed to download the Mendeley Desktop, okay? Good. The other one that I want to share with you is that if you are here, you could see Mendeley Reference Manager instead of Desktop, Mendeley Reference Manager, this one. Now, it is not reference it's not desktop, but reference manager. This is the newer version, which is currently in beta. It is also having very fantastic features, and gradually they are going to be switching over to the Mendeley Reference Manager. You remember that at the start of this course, I advised that you create a Microsoft Office account, that is an Outlook account. Well, at this stage, you might be needing that because for the Mendeley Reference Manager, they have a deal with Microsoft Store. And so for you to be able to use a citation plugin in your Microsoft Word, you might be required to go onto the Microsoft Store to download the citation plugin from there, which is called Mendeley Cite. So for that matter, those who have not created their Microsoft Office account or an Outlook account, try and create that, because during the workshop, we may need it to download the Mendeley Cite or the citation plugin for the new Mendeley, which is in the beta, the Mendeley Reference Manager. So these are two different versions that I spoke about: Reference Manager and Desktop. Mendeley Desktop, Mendeley Reference Manager. All right, the last thing, and then we'll close from this session and walk into, it's now past 11, we can break into our various rooms, is that I was talking about the advanced search. So in advanced search, which you should expect in all the other databases we are going to look at, you realize that beyond just a basic search, Google Scholar provides some other search techniques that you could use. So it's asking you to do what? Do exact phrase search. Okay, pick a keyword. You should specify an author and all these things that you could do. All right. What it hasn't provided is a space for using Boolean logic to combine your search phrases. But as I mentioned, Google Scholar is a very basic, database for scholarly staff. So when you get into the other databases, you are going to see more features within advanced search. But expect that once we call it advanced search, you are going to have multiple fields: author field, title field, maybe a field for your subject terms or what we call the thesauri. All those things should be expected when you get into serious academic databases and into advanced search in those databases. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing my screen now, and let's see how we break into our various groups. Dominic, is Lenny in now? Oh yes, Lenny. Yes. Great. Yeah, you're welcome, Lenny.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay. Yeah. It's morning. Late. It's still morning.
It's still morning for you.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. It's 11 a.m.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So without any delay, what I'm going to do is this. We are going to break into our rooms now. So please, room 1 is going to be for evidence-based medicine. So when we do the breakout now, participants should select room 1 if you want to go into evidence-based medicine or evidence-based practice. That will be room 1. Room 2 will be for health sciences. Health sciences. Now, I said already that the health sciences is combining environmental and agric sciences as well. So if you are interested in health sciences, environmental sciences, or agric sciences, then please, you will have to enter room 2, all right, room 2 for the health sciences, agric, and environment. Then room 3, which is the last, will be for RD, that is development and innovation, and then global justice. Development and innovation, global justice, that will be room 3. So if you are for development and innovation or global justice, please, you will go into room 3. All right, it's my first time. I've not done this breakout thing before, but I'm going to try it, and I hope it works. All right. So we'll I'm creating. So, yeah. I'm going to open all the rooms right now. All right, so I'm not assigning anyone. I'm leaving this. I hope that that is fine by all of you. Please, can we all see the rooms? Are the rooms visible?
No, please.
No, they are not visible.
Not yet. They are not visible.
They are not?
Yes, please.
Okay. Then what do I have to do?
Oh, they are visible. It's there.
Yes, they should be visible.
It's on the screen. It comes breakout. Click on it. You see 1, 2, 3.
Good. Please, can you tell us where they can find it?
Where can we find it, please?
It appears on the screen. On your screen, it appears on the left side under record.
So we should go to Fred's screen.
No, the interface that you are seeing.
Yeah, the screen, your interface you are seeing.
Look to your left top corner.
Exactly.
Your left top corner.
Can we all see it? Otherwise, from my end, when I click on more, I can see the breakout rooms.
There is some dots top written breakout rooms. When you click on it, you see room 1, 2, 3.
Good.
When you are using your phone, kindly touch on the screen. Okay. It will appear on the screen. Just give a tap to your screen. The breakout room icon will appear.
Okay, so I'm already seeing Dr. Matilda, you are in room 1. I can see that. That's fine. Okay, so I think I also have to join room 2 for the health sciences.
Please, I'm still struggling with the room. So where do you see we can find it?
Okay, please, what device are you using?
I'm using a laptop.
A laptop. Okay, please.
No, doctor, I haven't got my room.
Oh, okay. If you're using a laptop, please, can anyone tell us how it shows? Because I'm at the admin level, what I am saying is that, can you see a more tab? A more tab under your screen. More tab. Can you see more?
Where exactly? I can't find any more.
Where you can see your microphone, where you turn off your mic or whatever, that whole bar at the bottom.
No. Okay, breakout rooms. I've seen it. Okay.
Great. So room 1 is for evidence-based practice. Room 2 for the health sciences that incorporates environmental science and agric sciences. Then room 3 is for development and innovation and global justice. All right, I'm moving into one of the rooms now. So I hope everybody can find it now.
No.
Okay, doctor, please.
No, Fred.
What are you using? A phone or a laptop?
Laptop.
Okay, please. Can you see your status bar where you see your mic, where you turn on the mic or mute it?
Yes.
Okay, on that bar, can you see breakout rooms?
A mic bar. Isn't it my audio? Hello.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah. You mean on my audio?
Okay. What do you see? At the bottom there, is it bottom or top? I don't know where you are seeing it, but where you can see the chart. Can you see the chart, the polls, the participant information, share screen? Can you see all of that?
Yes.
Can you see breakout rooms there or more? Some ellipses?
Yes, I've seen it.
Very good. So go into the breakout.
I've seen it.
Okay, so you can enter one of the rooms. All right. I've seen that in the room 3, which is Adi, only one person has joined with the facilitator. What do we do? I'm still waiting. I want to join room 2, but I'm waiting to see what happens here. All right, thank you, everybody. So I'm also going to join my room and start over from there. All right, thank you very much. And you are welcome, everyone here. I hope you can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm glad to have you guys here in the health sciences group. As I mentioned, in this group, we are having health sciences, the medical, nursing, all of that. Then we are having environmental sciences, including public health, water and sanitation, all of that. And then we are also having the agric sciences, okay? Of course, we are all together. Health, environment, agric is all about human health. And so what I'll be doing quickly is to, I'll not do any presentation like we used to have in the guest presentations, but we'll go straight into the resources, all right? And then we need the next, I'm seeing there's one unassigned participant. Maybe I should attend to that person. Okay, no worries. The person will find the breakout rooms. All right, so what I'll do is to try and touch on some examples, okay, of each of these resources that are available through Research for Life. We'll start with the health sciences, continue with the agric sciences, and we'll end up with the environmental sciences. But I want to urge all of you to pay attention to each one of them, because the interesting thing is that these three disciplines are actually interrelated, all right? So of course, we know of zoonotic diseases and all of that. We understand that agric issues affect people. The nutritionists will tell us that we are what we eat, and we hear about the popular adage that if you eat your food like medicine, then you will not have to eat medicine as food and all of that. So it tells us there's a lot of connection between agric and health, a lot of connection between environment and health. And so even though we are narrowly focused on some of these sub-disciplines, it is fine if we get to understand what goes for another discipline. For example, I'm going to start with the health sciences, and I'll be starting with Pubmed. Pubmed. Of course, you realize that Pubmed will actually have results that cut across agric and environmental sciences as well. So it will be of interest to those in the environment and agric areas. So let me start quickly by sharing my screen. All right. Thank you very much. So the first and most important thing is knowing how to get into the Research for Life resources. How do I get into Research for Life? Now, I'll be sharing with you how to access these specialized databases from Research for Life. But the fact is that you could actually access them directly without going to Research for Life. The difference, however, is that if you do not go through Research for Life, it means that you will be limited in the results that you will get. All right? You'll be limited in the results that you will get, because Research for Life is a negotiated access, or it's a gateway that allows you to get access to many publications that are toll-gated from the publishers. So if you go through Research for Life before using these databases, they will recognize you as coming through that partnership and then grant you access to what you otherwise would have been asked to pay for. All right, so I want to explain that before we move ahead. To know that, of course, you can go to Pubmed straightforward. Just going pubmed.gov, it will open the NCBI database for you. But it will mean that there are some results you get there that you cannot access the full text. Okay, that is why we are going through Research for Life. All right, so quickly, there are three ways of getting into this area because there are three different portals now. But because we are in the health sciences that includes agric and environment, we are going to be looking at the three ways this way. The first one is, how do we access the Research for Life website itself, the website itself, okay? So it's simply by going to research4life.org, okay? Research4life.org. And it brings you here. I want you to take note of this, because sometimes for those of us here who are librarians or who are heads of departments, don't forget one of the requirements for this training, the ToT, is that you will go back and train other people. So you will need course materials and so many other things to support your training that you are going to be doing at your departmental level or school level, institution, whatever level, all right? If you come to Research for Life main website, you are going to have all these links that tell you how you can obtain access to Research for Life, the eligibility criteria and all of that, how to register. For example, the GCNH members, Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Health, you do not have personalized access yet. what you are going to be using is the temporary login that we have secured for this training. But later, I'll have a discussion with you to see if your Volta Region chapter can decide, or maybe the national GCNH network can decide that they want to have access to Research for Life for all their members. Then you can use the institutional membership credentials, all right? We'll discuss that. But you come here to learn about how you can register on the program and all of that, okay? Then under training, you can see all their training materials. If you go to the Authors Hub, for example, you learn a lot about how to become an author, how to publish articles, a lot of, author aid and in-house publications or webinars. In fact, there are so many things. Even webinars here gives you access to a lot of online recordings of the trainings that Research for Life has organized around how to get published or how to access publications and all of that, all right? Then free resources from partners and all of that are all here you can find. Then, of course, there are marketing materials, okay, for Research for Life. And of course, you can learn from here to market your other materials or resources at your school level and all of that. Now, if you came in through here and you want to access any of the portals, either the Unified Content Portal or Agora, which is the standalone portal for our Greek sciences, or ADI, which is a standalone portal for the development and innovation resources, you have to click on Access Content. Okay, you click on Access Content. Now, clicking on Access Content takes you straight to the Unified Content Portal. The Unified Content Portal. Now, watch this. Once we move here, look at the URL. The address bar now tells you that we could have come straight to portal.research4life.org. Portal.research4life.org. So if we did that, we would have come straight to the Unified Content Portal. So you see, it tells us, welcome to Research for Life. Now, the Unified Content Portal incorporates HINARI, which is the Research for Health, OARI, which is the Environment Science Research, and then the GOLI, which is the research for the social sciences or the legal resources. Those three have been combined together into this single search interface or portal. Now, the first thing you notice here is that you could do a simple search from here, okay? You can search for anything here that you want. And when you do a search in Summon, this is a Summon search, it will give you results from all the 5 program areas which are available to your country. So in Ghana, whatever the publishers have made available to us, we can get it through a simple Summon search. Of course, again, from this first interface here, you can decide to go for advanced search, all right? But we are going to come to all of that later. Now, all of those searches can help you to identify resources that are open access and free, but it means you will not be able to access any item that the publishers do not grant free or open access to. For those that are toll-gated, you will have to log in. So if you look at this icon, this person icon here with the dark background, which is rounded, okay? This is what is called the login. The login here tells you that you are not yet logged in. You are here as a guest. So you click on the login and it will open the login interface. Now, all of us, I believe, know the login interface for this training program. For our course, we have HIN, that is HIN 042 as our username. HIN 042 or HIN 042, that is our username. Then for the password, for ethical reasons, I will not be able to mention them here because we are going to be sharing this video online for everybody to see. I will not be able to mention the password, but all of you already have it through our Microsoft Teams page. I have already shared this login information. I hope you have been using it already alongside your slides that you are learning on the practice module. So I'm going to just enter it here without mentioning anything. So once you have entered a password, you can click on login. And of course, the language is English. Now, the moment I logged in, nothing much has changed on the interface. It is still welcome to Research for Life, but if you watch, you can see that the person icon here has changed. It now says what? My profile. Have you seen it? So it is no longer login, but it's now my profile because I have logged in. So even the icon changes. You don't see that dark background again. It is not rounded. It is just a plain person icon that says my profile. When you click on it, it's going to tell you that yes, you have logged in as Ghana, National Non-Governmental Organization. Full access has been granted to us with this ID, HIN or HIN 042. And then it's saying you can register or sign in as a personal user. We are going to come to that, okay? Or you log out this institution. We are not doing any of that. So we come back here. Now, I said I was going to start with the health people. So for health, I'm going to be looking at two resources briefly. The first one is Pubmed. All right, so to get to Pubmed, Pubmed is a database. So on the Unified Content Portal, the content and the collections are two main menus that you may want to be familiar with. Now let's look at the collections. Here, it gives us all the 5 programs as collections. So you can decide to move into Hinari, Agora, Adi, Goli, or Owari. Any one of them. Owari is for environment, Goli for global justice or the legal information, Adi for development and innovation. That is where you see things about intellectual property and all of that. Then Agora for agric and Hinari for health. You can decide through collections to narrow in onto one of these collections. All right. They used to be called programs, but now with the renewed interface, they are all being collapsed into what we call collections. Okay. Now, the content menu is where you have access to these categories of resources: journals, books, reference sources, databases, free collections, publishers, recent sources or resources, and subjects. Now we are going to Pubmed and we will go through databases. So remember, it is content menu, then you select databases. Once you click on this, it will display a screen listing all the databases. Here again, just as I mentioned with the example I did during the first half of this presentation on GoogleScholar, you will see that we have on the left here what we call the filters facet. These are filters. So it's telling you that even with the list of databases, you can decide to restrict yourself to only databases that are related to the Hinari collection. And how many are they? 31. Or you can decide to restrict this list to only those databases that are related to Agora or any of these 5 programs. All right. But it tells us that in terms of content type, we are actually dealing with databases, and there are 43 of them. So if we want, it is the name, Pubmed, starting with P. The list is alphabetical. So it starts with A, African Journals Online, African LII, AIN, that is African Index Medicus, AMMA Bibliographic. So it's all AAA, then B. And now Pubmed is P. That is a long way down. So we scroll down and we realize that only the first 20, okay, the first 20 of our 43 databases have been displayed. And it ends on the letter G, which is GoogleScholar. Okay, so we have to click on the See More button in order to display the further, that is from H going. And we are going to P, so we keep scrolling down until we get to the P for Pubmed. And I think it is right here. Good. And of course, you can see there's Scopus. I think last week I shared something on Scopus when we're dealing with citation databases. Then you can see Research Policy Knowledge Center. So of course, for NGOs or research faculty, especially the research fellows, those who are thinking about doing something on research policies, you can see that there's a whole database on all of that that is available free here. Now, what about the access key? I'll talk about them briefly before we click on Pubmed. Maybe I should scroll up and share the access key. Now, when you see the green background, okay, the green background tells you that you have full access to the contents of that particular database, or this access key is for not only databases, but journals, books, whatever kind of resource it is. Once you see a green background, it means you have full access. But they are different. The P, okay, the P with the green background says that these titles have been provided by the publisher. That tells you these are not open access, they are not free, they are toll-gated items, but the publisher, through the Research4Life network, has actually given you free or full access. So it is a full but proprietary or paid access. Then the OA stands for open access. So it tells you this one is free to you, or you have full access to it because it's open access. So that one, it means that even without the publisher granting any access to Research4Life, you could still discover it freely on the open web as an open access content. Then the free content here means it is free. Okay, so it is open access, that's what it means. It's free, even from the publisher directly, you didn't need to pay anything to have it. But once you get that black background with that warning sign or the exclamation mark, it's telling you strictly you have no access to this particular collection or database. So let's go down and see, yeah, you can see CAP abstracts. CAP abstracts have not been given to us. Meanwhile, that was one of the databases I wanted to share under Agric. So it means I wouldn't be able to share it. So our temporary login that we secure for this training program will not allow CAP abstracts. In fact, it is by CABI and it's actually more into Agric. So it tells us we don't have any access at all. But we go down now to pick our Pubmed, and then we look at a few features of Pubmed and move to the Agric guides. So Pubmed is right here. And we bring ourselves to this space where we are going to look at the new Pubmed interface. In fact, the new Pubmed came into being on 20th of May in 2019, I guess, or 2020 rather. Yeah, it went live 2020, 20th May. But since October 2019, they have been trying this in beta. So those who use the old Pubmed, the legacy Pubmed, they are aware that a change has happened. This is not how the interface used to be. But this is what we get if we are searching Pubmed right from Research4Life. I want you to observe the address bar. You see that it says login.research4life.org, tax, GR, this one, Pubmed, NCBI, all of that plenty English. And then it says Hinari, WHO. Can you see that? Very good. So it's telling you that it has recognized that we are searching the Hinari or the health collections of the unified content portal, because that is where the Pubmed has been linked. All right. So even though we are searching the Pubmed database or interface, we are searching it through Research4Life. So it is not the regular Pubmed that we all know. This is the Pubmed that will map our searches onto Research4Life, so that if there are any documents that are retrieved that Pubmed would not have given us open access through the Pubmed Central or any other open access routes, still Pubmed will show us that we can have access to the full content through Research4Life. Now, this is the interface. And the first space you see here is a search bar for a simple or basic search. Please, can anyone give us or volunteer any search term that we should use? Any query? What do you want us to search? Okay, I see in the charts, it says sports nutrition. Very good. So we are going to search for sports nutrition. I can just copy this and paste. All right. So we are doing a basic search for sports nutrition. And I want you to pay attention to this. The moment I pasted or I typed, if I had typed sports nutrition, observe that Pubmed brings suggestions. Can you see it? So it tells you that that term is already indexed within the Pubmed database. So there's sports nutrition in Pubmed database, sports nutrition position, International Society Sports Nutrition, International Society Sports Nutrition position, then sports nutrition position stand, and all of that. These are all terminal. That means we have publications already indexed in that. So we can select any of these preferred terms. The reason why the suggestions are very important is that it helps you to actually narrow your focus. In case you are searching for something and you were too general, Pubmed gives you those suggestions to help you to narrow down on what you really wanted to do. Now, again, look at the semblance of this page with what I shared earlier in Google Scholar. You see that as a scholarly search engine or database, you have on your left here a lot of filter facets. In the middle here, you have the results. I'm going to explain the interface in brief. First off, this is our search bar. It tells us this is what we searched for. Under it, we have the advanced search option. We have create alert, then we create RSS feed. Then under here, can you see user guide? It's one of the important things that I want you to check critically. User guide, all right? Under user guide here, please excuse me 1 minute. I'm seeing some notification. Let me check what it is. Okay, breakout rooms have reaction. Okay, I won't attend to that one. Then in the chat, okay, I can see another suggestion for mental health services utilization. Excellent. We'll search for it next, all right? Mental health services utilization, we'll go there. All right. So once we did our first search, first of all, let's note the interface of the results. It tells how we had 24,802, 802 results. And on the left here, we can filter the results by the following. First, all results, which are the 24,000, are broken down into free full text of 10,000 and then Hinari of 13,000. Can you see that? So it tells you that over 13,000 results out of the 24,000 that we got here were actually not free full text that we could have got. But because we are coming through Research for Life, Hinari could provide access to those 13,775 other results that otherwise would not have been accessible to us in full text. This is one of the big reasons why you should access or use the Pubmed search engine through Research for Life, so that you have full access to all these huge documents that were actually toll-gated. That is, they were subscription-based, and you couldn't have had access to them. Then below that, you can see we can also filter results by year. So you can see the year graph. Can you see that? Now it tells us that 24,802 results that we are talking about actually spans the date 1946 to 2022. Of course, I don't think we are interested in 1946 unless for some historical reasons. Well, our search query itself lends itself to a historical analysis also. Maybe we want to look over the years through maybe the Greece or Athens times, nutrition in sports, and that's fine, we could do that. But if we are focusing on any current research topic, we might want to filter the results by year. So the simple thing is, I can use the slider. You can see the slider here for 1946, that's the start date. And the other slider at the end here, 2022, is the end date. So I can decide to just move this closer. So I'm moving, you can see the date changing. And I'm moving it to 2018 so that we are dealing with the last 4 or 5 years, 2018. Good. Then you see that automatically Pubmed searches or refines the search by reconstituting your results. Now from 24,805 results, you now have 11,105. All right, 11,105, which were published between 2018 and 2022. Now, I know that for many of us, we are already familiar with this. Somebody will ask, how are we mentioning 2022 when we are in 2021? Yes, in the online environment, and this is why sometimes e-resources are very beneficial, you can have access to publications ahead of print. Okay, so before these publications come out in print, they are already available online. And so resources that are earmarked for 2022, maybe January or the first quarter of 2022, can actually be made available or accessible to you online already in the last quarter of 2021. That is why that date is there. Now, beyond the date, we also have a filter called text availability. So you can decide to filter this further by saying, okay, I want those that have their free full text only, free full text or full text. Well, we may not be interested in that because we already know that we have full text access through Hinari, over 5,000 of these items. So whether free full text or full text, for us, we don't really mind. We can still leave it at that. So we can leave it at that. We still have 11,105. Then when we move down, we can see article type or type of publication. We have books and documents, we have clinical trials, we have meta-analysis, we have randomized controlled trials, reviews, systematic reviews. Can you see that? All these are publication types that we can use to filter or refine our search. At this point, I would like you to tell me which of these publication types are we looking for? Currently, it is including all manner of types of publications. So tell us, what do you want? Clinical trials, meta-analysis, randomized controlled trials, reviews, systematic review, which one? Okay, I took away your right to unmute because of the noises. So please type in the chat for me. Which one shall we use? Publication type. Okay, if we leave it at all, we have 11,000 results, right? I have got two. Okay, I've seen meta-analysis and reviews. That's fine. So we'll pick one of each of them and see in 10 and see. So if we pick meta-analysis for, you see that Pubmed then refines. And out of the 11,105 results, 311 were meta-analysis. And that is what you are seeing here. All the things we are doing right now are the mechanisms you use to refine your search. So that you remember from 24,000, we are now down to 311. Okay, how about if we want to choose reviews? Now, before that, observe something. Because I checked meta-analysis, that box is still checked here. And if I move to the top, you can see it tells me what? Filters applied, meta-analysis. I hope you can follow my cursor. Filters applied, meta-analysis. Now, there is a link here to clear all. If I do not clear all, watch what will happen. If I do not clear all, I have 311 meta-analysis. I'll leave it, I'll not clear. I'm now going to add another filter for reviews. I hope that was the second thing I saw. Let me see if that was what I saw. Yeah, reviews, okay. So I'm adding reviews to that. That means I'm activating a second filter. What has happened is that it has added that second, if you see from the top here, meta-analysis, comma, review. Can you see? So it has added that second filter to the first. So it has pushed the results up from 311 of meta-analysis alone to 1,437. All right. Now, what if I do not want meta-analysis? So I decide to go in and uncheck or deactivate the meta-analysis filter. What has happened? 1,186. It has reduced the results from 1,400 and something because now there are no meta-analysis added. Now, don't forget, all these things that we are doing, the filtering that we are doing by type of publication, all of that, it is being recorded. So if we do not remove it, the next search we are going to do, Pubmed will apply the same filters to that search. So always remember that anytime you activate some filters and they are showing you here, kindly clear them before you do another search. All right. Now, at this point, it's good to note another aspect that right down here, some actions can be done. You can save this search, you can email the search, or you can send it to any citation or referencing app. But on the far right too here, you can see that there was a type of sorting. It's sorted by what? Best match. Can you see it? So the best match to our search terms was what Pubmed used to sort our results. But you can see this box that says display options. If you click, even without clicking, it tells you the screen tip says change the sort order, format, or the items per page. So the display options are here that what format is being displayed is summary. You can decide, well, I don't want the summary, I want abstracts, I want PMID, whatever. But please, the summary is best. So that it tells you something about the title, the author, a part of the abstract, the PMID, and all of that, the full text asset links, and all of that. So summary is okay. Then sorting the result by best match. Others are like most recent, publication date, first author, journal, All these are options. You can decide to try them on your own, but I think best match is best because that is relevancy ranking. It means the results you are seeing top of your page are the most relevant to your search terms that you have supplied. Again, how many results are being displayed per page? Only 10. You can decide to change that, increase this to 20, 50, 100, or even 200 results per page. That means you have a lot of scrolling to do. All right, but if we leave it at the system defaults, that means there are only 10 results per page. It means when I scroll down, okay, and I want to see the next results, I'll simply have to say show more. Can you see show more? There are 24,000 results because I cleared all the filters. All right, good. Now, if I go back and I say, okay, let's activate another filter. Here, we can see publication date. Instead of using the date graph, which I used manually to adjust, I could use the filters down here, publication date, and just say the last 5 years. It will do the same work as using the graph to drag, okay? So last 5 years, you can see it has automatically repositioned or re-graphed to 2016, 2022. Can you see it? And it says filters applied the last 5 years. So that filter is there. We like it. But I want you to note one thing. When we did the search, sports nutrition, it picked up documents that have sports and nutrition, not necessarily because the word sports nutrition went together as a phrase. Let's look at our first result. First result, ISSN exercise and sports nutrition. So here is a phrase. That's excellent. Sports nutrition, phrase, excellent. Third result, the same way. Fourth, the same way. Fifth, the same way. Sixth, looks like we are lucky here. But look at result number 9. It says what? Nutrition in sports. So because it has the word nutrition and the word sports, it will pick that result also. Let's move to more results. Sports nutrition is featuring again as a phrase, which is an interesting thing. Then look at result number 15. Result number 15 has periodized nutrition for athletes. So the word sports does not appear in the title, but sports appears in the document. Don't forget, this basic set that we did was done in all fields. So even though most of the search results we were seeing were having the sports nutrition in the title, it does not mean that the sports nutrition that we searched must necessarily occur in the title of the document. No, it could occur anywhere in the document at all, not only in the title. So in a result like the result number 15 that we saw, you see that there's no sports showing in the title, but that result was picked up. In 16, we see dietary intake, body composition, and nutrition knowledge of Australian football and soccer players, implications for sports nutrition. Even though sports nutrition appears here, it is not the reason why it was picked, because sports and nutrition appear in the document in general. 17, which is a review, sports-related considerations in soccer. Sorry, sport doesn't appear, but nutrition-related consideration in soccer appears. Sports necessarily appears in the body of the text. You can see in the brief abstract that soccer is the world's most popular sport. So sport has appeared in the document, even though it is not in the title. So that's the reason why I picked that. However, let's do this search again the second time. By this time, let's say we are enclosing that phrase, sports nutrition, in quotation marks. So open and close and do that particular search. And let's see the kind of results that we'll have. So this time we are searching sports nutrition as a phrase, And we have left the filter last 5 years on. How many results do we have? 518. And if we scroll down, let's look closely at the results. You'll see that this time, any result that we come up with, for example, result number 9, you see that number 9 is no longer the one we saw first, because we are restricting this set to a phrase set. That means the results that Pubmed should retrieve must strictly contain the word sports nutrition as a phrase. That is, no word can come between them, but sports nutrition as a phrase. Exactly. So if we get to result number 15, for example, let's show more. Let's see whether we'll see the old result 15 again. Old 15 is no longer there now. It's a new 15, which has sports nutrition as a phrase occurring strictly like that. 14 has come again because sport nutrition actually appears together as a phrase, either in the title or anywhere in the body. All right. So that is what phrase or exact phrase section does for you. Now, because we want to go into Agora also briefly and the environment as well, let's look at the advanced search and some of the things that you can find. Or before that, let's just click on any one of these. Let's say the first or the second result is interesting. You click on the title to display more information on that result. Now, when you click on the title, you see that publication information is given first. So it tells you this is a review, and it is found in the Journal of International, is it soccer, sports, or whatever, and nutrition, okay? Well, if you click on it, you give the full name, or if you just point to Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition. Okay, so that's the journal name, Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition. All right, 2017 publication, and this is the DOI. Please remember this word that I just said, DOI, that is the Digital Object Identifier. Remember this particular one very well. We will need them during our reference. The DOI is a special unique number assigned to a particular data object online. So this is the title, this is the author, and the authors are identified by affiliation. So it's that author Richard B. Creda, for example, has a superscripted 1 beside it. That tells you where the man is working or the affiliation of the institution of his affiliation. So this Exercise and Sport Nutrition Lab, Human Clinical Research Facility, Department of Health and Kinesiology, Texas A&M University, College Station, USA. If you move to the number 2, you see that person's affiliation also is Nutrition Research Unit, QPS, so Sunset Drive Suite, Miami, Florida, USA. Have you seen that? So these are the affiliations of the various authors. If we had anybody from UHAS or in Ghana, we'll see that they also have the affiliation stated. Then you move down and gives you the PMID. Don't forget this one also, PMID, the Pubmed ID, just like the DOI. These are key identifiers that we'll be using in our referencing. Then you see PMC ID. PMC, which is PubMed Central, is the open access archive for PubMed. So all the resources that are free, for example, this one tells you free PMC article. So it tells you that this is a publicly funded research, and so it was published open access, and therefore it is available in the PubMed Central repository. So it is an open access article. And if you move to the right end here, just like we saw in GoogleScholar, you see that the full text access links are given in the far right here. We can see this freely available in the PubMed Central database or in the PubMed Central database or here in Research4Life. You see it's telling us the full text available here in Research4Life. Can you see that? This is because we search through Research4Life. So these are some of the things that you find when you do a basic search in PubMed. However, what if you are doing advanced search? What happens in PubMed advanced search? In PubMed advanced search, don't forget, we still have our filter on 5 years. Now here, we are allowed to state what number of fields we want to search from and where in those results or the fields of the database. Here it says all fields, that's the default. We can decide that we are searching only in the title, the author field, and blah, 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 all right? Or even the affiliation. But we are leaving that all. The interesting thing I want to see about PubMed Advanced Search is that anything that you are doing in the PubMed basic search is actually being recorded in what we call the history. So the history and search details of PubMed are here. Can you see it? Everything that we did when we're doing the refining, using the filters, every basic effort that we were making with our research, our search in the basic interface of PubMed was being recorded. So you see that our search number 1 was sport nutrition, which is here. It gave us 24,802 results. Okay, so from this history, we can see all the activities we did are numbered. The second activity we did was to actually move our date graph. You remember the graph we moved from 1946 down to 2018 because we wanted to close the date range for the results that we're getting from PubMed. and that gave us 11,105 results. So the history of all the things that we were doing is being recorded here. Now, if you want to return to any of these old searches, you simply click on the numbered link here, the result number. If you click on that result number, it will return you to that old thing that you did in Pubmed. So you see that whatever you are doing in Pubmed is not lost. It is being recorded behind the scenes. But you have to click on advanced search before you can come and see the history of your searches. Now, the interesting thing about the history of these searches is that it allows you to do several searches and then come and combine them here. So for example, I'm going to pick the sports nutrition search that we did and the meta-analysis. Okay, let's pick the result number 2. Okay, I'm picking the result number 2. And then I'm taking an action. You see the action column here. Okay, before I go there, let me show you something else, the details. We want to see the details. So when we did this sports nutrition search, what really happened behind the scenes? If you click on the details, it actually gives you the search syntax or how Pubmed actually translated or mapped that simple phrase, sport nutrition, that you entered. This is how Pubmed actually did the search for you. So sports in all fields, or sports in mesh terms, or sports in all fields, or all these plenty things. We are going to be talking about them in the face-to-face workshop. We understand how this Boolean logic works, but just to let you understand what happens behind the scenes, so that if you also want to do what we call a command line search, where you want to actually go into the language of the database, you can actually do that, okay, by using your Boolean logic and all the, phrase searching, the truncation, everything, complexly typing it like that. And somebody will see that and think you're crazy. No, because you understand the logic or the search language or the algorithm of the search database. That's why you're doing that. So when you click on the details of any one of them, you see how that has happened. Under the query, it tells us what we actually entered, but the details tell us how the search was mapped onto the various fields using the vocabulary of Pubmed behind the scenes for us, all right? Good. Now, I said we're going to pick, so I can close collapse the details here. Then we pick this result, and we are taking an action that we want to add it to the query box. Okay, once I click on add query, see that it has been added to the query box here. Then I want to do an additional search. Someone put in the chat that we should search for mental health services utilization. So I will do that search, but before I do that search, I'm going to add it by end. So I want to see if there's any connection between sports nutrition and utilization of mental health services. Okay, so do sportsmen utilize mental health services? I'll leave it at end. All right, then I put my search query here for the all fields. So mental health services utilization. And then I come and click on search. And it's already here. Okay, so as I click on it, you see that it has moved my query down here and it has joined them by end. So the first query that I picked from the previous simple search, plus what I'm doing now in advanced search, which is the mental health services utilization. And then we now click on search to see if Pubmed can give us any documents within the last 5 years. Oh, interesting, we have 36 results. So let's see what kind of results have come. So a review of prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of relative energy deficiency in sports, in artistic, whatever. Then estimating global injuries. Very good. So you see that there's a connection between the sports nutrition search that we did. And look at this particular item number 2, result number 2, estimating global injuries, morbidity, and mortality, methods and data used in the global burden of disease 2017. Can you see the number of authors? I'm just attracted to that. I want you to just look at this. I'm sure these are more than 1,000 authors. All that you are seeing here are just authors. Then we now see where it was published, the DOI, the conclusion. Before, if you are interested, you can now click on the title to look at more details. So it is possible to have this number of authors for just one small paper. Now, this is mostly when we have lab work done, okay, in collaboration. Maybe different labs are working on a particular, issue. That can happen. You have hundreds of people authoring just one paper. All right, so this is where I want to stop for this. If I want the full text, as I mentioned, click on the link here, the title. It will give you the full text, sources that you can go and get that. If you just want a citation, you can simply click on Cite. So if you click on Cite here, Pubmed generates a cite for you in NLM format. You can choose to change the format to AMA, APA, MLA, whatever. But NLM, which is the National Library of Medicine, is going to be the default. You can decide to copy it and go and paste, or you download the NBIB. The NBIB is a format that EndNote will use. So EndNote can open this particular format, the NBIB format. All right. Good. Our time is almost up, but I will still dare to enter. In fact, it's up, not almost up. I will dare to jump into Agora, but please, I will not be able to go into individual databases because everything that I have shared in Pubmed here applies to Agora and all the databases that are accessible through Agora. All right. But how do we get to Agora? Right in your search box or the address bar, just go to agora.research4life.org. agora.research4life.org. And right there, you can see it says, welcome to Agora. It is no longer welcome to Research4Life, but it's not the unified content portal. This one is specific to Agora. So in the Agora content, you can go to databases so that you see what databases are available. All right. And interestingly, as I said, I wanted to look at the CAP abstracts, but it is not giving us. So we forgot about it. Let's see if you can see, what about Agris? Agris for A. We don't have access to Agris also, but we have BLDS index, okay? Then we have CNKI Global Academic Focus. So any of the databases that are available to us, IMF eLibrary, the Lens, what else is there? Okay, Pubmed is also available again. Then Research Policy, all these are available again through Agora. Please, any one of them that you pick is going to be the same story as I shared. It's basic, advanced search. Now, the databases may differ, all right? So all the details you see in Pubmed may not be the same details you see in Agora. Now, if I want to go back, okay, let me just go back home to Research4Life. Sorry, yeah, Research4Life. And also touch on something in the environment because our time is up. I wouldn't be able to go in details there, but right under, let's say free, can you see free collections? Free collections. Oh, okay. So even in Agora, we could have actually got Agris from free collections. So Agris is not really under databases. Agris is under free collections. All right, thank you. I was being prompted that our time is up. Okay, so if you are in Agora, so this is Agora, okay, under content, you could go to free collections. Instead of database, go to free collections, and you can see the Agris database. The Agris database actually indexes data and publications. This is how it looks. So you can read all about Agris, okay? You can do a basic search here, all right? And then it tells you the sources of data. You can also get publications from there. After entering your keyword, you just click on search. It tells you here, Agris is a database that contains over 13 million from whatever data sets and all of that provided. It's just a similar thing to what we did in Pubmed. That's why I don't want to go into details here. Now for the environment, let's try right here. We go into databases. And let's see, environment index and environmental science collections. So E, very good. You can see environmental index, environmental science collection. These are two important databases that those in the environment might want to have a look at. But the principles, as I said, right from the very beginning are the same. The difference here is that with the environmental index, you see that it launches the advanced search straight away. So here you can put your search term in here, and then you add more search terms. You can define where you want it to search. By fields, we mean all the text, that is all fields, the title of the document, the author, publisher, what aspect of the document do you want it to search, depending on what keyword you enter here, okay? So you can do that, vary the Boolean logic depending on the kind of terms you have entered. As I said, the Boolean stuff is something we are going to do in the face-to-face. We don't want anybody to miss it. So when we get there, it will make more meaning when we are doing what we call advanced and then systematic searches. Now, this is what environmental index looks like. What about the environmental science collection? Let's look at it also briefly. This is how it looks. This one is coming from ProQuest. And you can see that ProQuest immediately identifies you as coming from Research4Life. Otherwise, ProQuest is one of the strict databases that will not even allow you to log in without subscription, you know. So they have recognized that you are coming to Research4Life, so you have access to everything. So you can enter a search term, and then your limits are already here. There are filters here that, okay, I want peer-reviewed items, and I want full text. You can activate those filters and then continue with the search. That will limit the search results. All right. Now, when you go through the PowerPoint presentations on these discipline-focused searches, you will see all the details in how to use these databases that I have touched on. Please go ahead, continue there. Any questions that you have, just put them in the chats for us on our team channels. We'll answer all of them. But don't forget, next week, Wednesday and Thursday, we are having our face-to-face workshop. And all the questions that you have regarding these things, you can bring them along to ask live in the face-to-face session. But at this time, I want us to all leave this room because it is time. I understand the other rooms have finished. We want to go back and join them so that we can close for today. But again, over there, any questions at all can be asked. I'll be there to respond. Thank you very much. I stop sharing my screen now. All right, welcome. I'm checking the rooms to see that there are quite a number of people yet to retain. So let's wait for them. At this point, we have already exceeded the time. I want to thank all of you. It is my first experience actually running the breakout sessions as a host, and at the same time also presenting. So it was quite difficult doing all of them together. Of course, I know that those in a Greek and environment didn't really enjoy their side so much in my group room too, but you shouldn't worry, please. At any time at all, I'm available. You can schedule any meeting at all online, or maybe during the face-to-face, we can make amends or make it up to you that way. I mean, the details for the truth is that every single database, for all of you who have done the JSTOR Module 2 task, you would have realized that, and I was so happy about our brother, Mr. Wisdom Akwalu. You remember how he told us how he goes about his set. Excellent one, because the truth is that depending on the particular database that you have chosen, there's so much to learn. You have to learn the vocabulary. In fact, we didn't have time to go into even the vocabulary or the index terms or the thesaurus of these databases. Pubmed, for example, uses the medical subject headings. We're going into Agora. Agris, for example, uses what we call the AgroVoc or the Agri vocabulary. So you have to identify with one of these databases and know how they have indexed their resources and how to use those index terms to maximize your search output. We are going to do all of that during the face-to-face. For the face-to-face, of course, you're going to have a lot of time. I think each day we'll be having about 6 hours of work. So don't worry, we'll be able to address individual discipline areas in that space. But don't forget, please download and install Mendeley Desktop and also Mendeley Reference Manager. If you have any issues at all concerning these two, please don't hesitate to post them in the technology-related issues channel. I think that is channel number 11. So on our Teams page, any issue with technology, please post them right there. I thank you so much. Okay. Yes, the two of them. We are downloading all of them because we are going to learn how both of them will work. We'll be transitioning from Mendeley Desktop to Mendeley Reference Manager. So I thank you very much. I'd like us to end here unless someone has an issue to share or a question to ask, please. Any question?
Okay, so thank you very much, but please let's hear from you as early as possible because today is Wednesday, then Friday will get here soon. You know how institutions work. If the letter doesn't come early, you know how it is. So if it's Wednesday next week, all right. Thank you very much.
It will come tomorrow. Sure.
All right. That's
Thank
fine.
you. All right.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye to everyone.